Fuck you, Dante.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Off the Mats podcast. Sorry, Off the Mats Nerdcast. And whenever we do these episodes, you know who's here. It's Funky Fresh Phil.
The name change. It's sticking.
The
alternate personality comes out.
It depends on my mood. Like it's either Funky Fresh or Maryland Phil. I don't know. It just depends on what I remember at the time.
Person.
That's what you want to believe, but it's not. It's like Urkel and Stefan. So,
Harvey Two-Face.
So for this episode here, Phil and I, whenever we record, we always end up on rants about action figures and Marvel Legends and shit. So we were talking one day, I was like, why don't we just do a Legends episode? We talk about the shit so much. We may as well. Honestly, I could probably just go back to all the old episodes and fucking splice it all together.
You can pull a Bobby and clip all that shit if you want.
I could, but I'm not. I just don't have the patience, the talent, or the care to do it. So, and also there's sometimes there are clips where it's like, I feel like I thought that was a 10-minute clip. It only turned out to be a 30-second clip. Then why did it feel like 10 minutes? Because you thought about it forever, dummy. So we're going to be talking about Hasbro and the Marvel Legends toy line. Some of you may care, some of you may not. Most of you don't.
I can just hear the clicking off now. Everybody's leaving the podcast.
Oh, trust me. I know how long motherfuckers listen. I have the stats.
All of Dante's regular listeners are like, all right, I'm out. I'm going to head out. They're pulling a SpongeBob.
I was like, all right, I'm going to go ahead and head out. I was like, man, fuck y'all. So, I mean, basically, yeah, whenever we get on here, we talk about Legends. We really talk about kind of our thoughts, feelings, and opinions, and really complaints about the lines. I mean, for me, I don't have a whole hell of a lot of complaints other than how they release the lines.
Yeah. I think it's a lot of people's complaint.
Because, I mean, I get it. It's a money thing.
Mm-hmm,
it's
definitely.
It's how you're going to get me to buy a full wave by making Strong Guy to build a figure on a Deadpool wave.
Yeah,
and
well, you have to buy 5 Deadpools to get Sauron. It's like, oh my god, I'm not getting on that line.
I got to buy a pirate Deadpool that I never asked for.
Why the fuck would I ever want a pirate Deadpool?
Like
nobody Nobody asked. I love how when they do the promo stuff now on their the YouTube channel, and they're like, oh well, people have been asking for this. No, they fucking have not. Nobody has asked you for that.
Like,
no one.
Show me 5 people.
Show me your Instagram DMs where people have asked you for this. That's horse shit.
Nobody asked.
Nobody asked for that.
My daughter doesn't even want a pirate Deadpool, and she likes pirates. She's like, what the fuck is this?
Or they do, what was it, Deadpool's wife, whoever that magic lady was, and they didn't do the actual female that's been in the fucking movies. They didn't do Copycat.
Can we get Copycat?
Copycat's the one female that's been famous in the comics that everybody would be expecting you to do, and instead you do whoever the fuck this is that was in one issue that nobody remembers.
Yeah, like she came with a shark. That's what my daughter was excited about, was shark with legs.
A land shark dude with legs. That was the selling point of that figure.
It's fucking dumb.
Do Copycat if you're going to do Deadpool.
Yeah. I mean, it's like when I look at the wave. So what got me in was, again, Pinkerton. With the Juggernaut wave, the X-Men.
Back when he was selling.
And the thing is, that was a fucking great wave.
That was a.
You got Wolverine. You had Cable from the one Avengers story. Can't remember the name of it right now.
Oh, one of the Uncanny Avengers or whatever.
No. I can't think of it right now. I fucking have the.
It was a more modern version of Cable, though.
Yes,
not the classic X-Force one. One of the more modern ones, yeah.
But I had Cable, Shadowcat, Deadpool, Wolverine, Rogue, the Rogue that everybody was fucking fighting over.
That's the one that's been on eBay forever. That was sky high.
And it was like, it's weird because like here I am, just Forrest Gump my way into that one. Like I just wanted to jump.
That's the one you started with, and it was a very solid wave to start with.
Yeah, like
it was like had a lot of the main cast that you would want.
And the funny thing is, I didn't even consider collecting any further for the X-Men waves And that second X-Men wave was actually pretty decent too.
Yeah.
The Build-A-Figure was dog shit. It was Warlock. I know people like Warlock.
But who was in that wave? Because there was a lot of good. Was it Magneto in one of those?
So Magneto was in the first one.
Okay.
In the Warlock wave, you had Cyclops. That was a hard one to find.
Yeah.
And Sarah found that in store 2 years later.
Wow.
I got a feeling she bought it on eBay, carried it into the store, took a picture, and sent it to me and said, "Is this one you're looking for?" What's funny about it though is she bought that for me. I had already pre-ordered the 3-pack with Cyclops, Jean and Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, well, yeah, get that too, bitch.
And then, I got the Cyclops off you from the 3-pack.
Because, in my mind, I was like, well, I'm going to get my Cyclops. And then once I got that, I was like, okay, well, I'll take this. And then, it was like, here, Phil, take this shit. I want it. Fuck is this?
I had some.
You ended up giving me the Punisher War Machine.
Yeah.
Which is actually upstairs.
That's a cool figure.
Like, I've never opened it. It's actually still in box. It's like...
Yeah.
Like it's in one of my totes with all my comics, like all my rare comics. Because Sophie saw it the other day. She was like, "Oh, one of your figures are in here. Oh, this is pretty cool." I was like, "Yeah, I know." It's like I don't have anywhere that I want to put him though. So I was like, "I'm not gonna take him out." What if somebody's like, "Hey, this is worth $10,000," and I was like, "In box." And I was like, "Phil, I'm gonna break this with you, son."
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that.
I'm not gonna give you 5,000, but I'll probably give you like 3.
Hey, I'll take whatever I can get, man.
But since it's not worth 10,000, this is kind of like a dead conversation here.
How do you know? When's the last time you looked?
I'm not gonna say that I look every day, but I might have looked yesterday. But yeah, in that wave it was Cyclops, Colossus, Shatterstar.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Trying to look over on the shelf.
Yeah, I don't remember what's in waves anymore. I rely on you for that. You remember that stuff better than I do.
Those are the only 3 I can remember off top, and the only one that I actually got in store was Shatterstar that I can recall. I'm pretty sure I got all but like Cyclops, Sarah found in the store. Colossus I ordered off eBay. Mm-hmm. I think I paid like $28 for him when they were going for $19 at the time. So I got hit with a little bit of a late tax. But
I think you've gotten severely lucky with a lot of stuff you've gotten as far as late tax are concerned.
Definitely. So my rule is I don't pay more than $40 for a figure. That's my cutoff. If a figure's gonna cost more than $40 on eBay, Amazon, or anything, then you can fucking keep it. I'm not buying it. I barely will go over 35, but there's the rare occasion. Yeah. It's like, look, I got to get it now. But yeah, basically for me, it was the X-Men wave, and ultimately what I want to do is I want to collect the animated series. And I was like, well, let's just get the gold and blue.
Okay.
And then I was like, why don't I just go with all the 90s teams, like Mutants teams? And that's because the way they started releasing different waves, you could see them.
It was kind of geared towards that, at least a little bit. You could tell that's what they were gunning for the mutant ones anyway.
Yeah, and I ended up getting, I only ended up getting the gold and blue team almost kind of accidentally because I bought Archangel. I was like, okay.
Yeah, because there's a separate box with the wings.
I was like, I may as well get them. So I did. And then Storm was one of the retro figures.
Yeah, the one in the retro carded.
So I was like, all right, I'll go ahead and get this. And I was like, all right, well, I'm pretty much there. And then that 3-pack is where you got Jean.
Yeah, with the Bone Claws Wolverine.
Because that's where I was worried. I was like, are they going to ever drop a Jean? Because I have a Phoenix, but it's not the Phoenix I want.
But it's not the 90s.
And then as soon as they dropped that, I was like, I'm in. I'm here now. This is what I'm doing. Then eventually, I think I went to an Orioles game one night, and on the way home, I stopped at Walmart up in Severn just by some dumb luck, and they had whatever wave it was. It was the Caliban Build-A-Figure wave. So it was like Forge, Jubilee, Gambit, Beast, and
you pretty much got the rest of the teams from that.
Yeah, that's what built everything. And I came home, and I says to Sarah, like, they have the full wave at Walmart, but I can't fucking get it. She was like, here, take my card, go.
Okay.
I fucking floored it back to fucking Severn. I went in with like the little hand basket, put all the figures, and it was like a long ass line. I'm sitting in a line. I remember I went on Facebook and wrote something about like, here I am, a grown ass man standing at Walmart at 1:30 a.m. with a basket full of fucking action figures. Let somebody say something. But
You'd be surprised how normal that is nowadays.
yeah, well, yeah. Like as soon as I go into the toy aisle, I see other dudes. I'm like, yeah. Like
You're not seeing kids in a toy aisle now. You're seeing people our age.
the only kid that's in the toy aisle is my daughter, looking for action figures for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like she was like, we gotta go look at stuff for Dad. But yeah, basically, that's what got me in. But that's also been my complaint is like how they release the figures. Because again, I know it's a money making thing.
Yeah.
But it's fucking obnoxious because
I think it's gotten more obnoxious in the past couple of years than it used to be.
I
Because the waves aren't that jam packed with stuff that you really want anymore. You have like one or two that you really want, and you get, and maybe a Build-A-Figure you might want, which is what they're banking on, so that you buy the rest of the wave.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the latest X-Men wave, I was like, well, I may as well just fucking get the whole thing because I got Corsair. Who else did I get out of that wave? I don't know. There was like 3, maybe 4 of those figures, and I was like, well, there's 6 to build the figure, so I may as well just fucking get the rest.
I think the thing that's killing it now is the store exclusives. Now that Toys R Us is dead, and they have to cut deals with the major retailers, which are Target, Walmart, and Walgreens. They each give them exclusives and sometimes they're even exclusives that are an entire wave or an entire Build-A-Figure at some point, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't see a lot of exclusive. The only exclusives I ever really hear about are Walgreens, and I don't even really see those two too often anymore.
No, the Walgreens. Well, I think in the past like 6 months or so, that's kind of dropped down a little bit. It's affecting at this point. It's affecting McFarlane a lot more for DC than it is for Marvel Legends, but.
Sure. Yeah, I think
for a while, Walgreens was the worst, man, because those exclusives they release in Canada early, they release on the West Coast early. They rarely hit the East Coast on any type of regular schedule, and when they do, they get bought out very, very fast.
The only Walgreens exclusive that I got without fight was Fantastic Four.
I think the only one I ever got without fight was Moon Knight, and it was a beat up. It looked like it had been drop kicked. It's the only one I could find, so I bought it.
There was there was a Doom.
The Invincible Iron Man Doom. Yeah. I found that one too. Those are the only two.
Because there are select ones that they're going to be like
the Nova that came out. Was it a year and a half ago? You can't find that anywhere.
He's down there.
Yeah, I know you found it, but did you find it at Walgreens?
No,
exactly.
Not at all.
You didn't find that in the wild, so to speak.
No, yeah. And that's the funny thing. Sarah and I were talking about that the other day about the X-Men wave because Kid Omega and Fang, F-A-N-G, were out there. She was in the store and all the figures were there except for those two. Mm-hmm. And
there's a reason for that.
And I was like, well, I mean, I could just go on Amazon right now and buy both of them. And she was like, yeah, but...
So how much is it going to cost?
No, it was retail.
Okay.
And she was like, yeah, but I know you like the hunt. And I was like, yeah. So
I've got to stop liking the hunt.
I found them both at GameStop in the Annapolis Mall. Mm-hmm. I picked up Kid Omega because I was like, well, at least for the Build-A-Figure, that's the full body. Like, that's the torso right there. Mm-hmm. And Fang was there, too. I just decided not to get it.
Fang's the one with the head for Chad.
And it's like, I was like, I mean, again, I can get it on Amazon if I want. Like, if I don't see it in the store in the next 2 weeks, I'll just go on Amazon and get it.
Okay.
But also the whole thing with Amazon is I usually wait for the prices to drop. So that's the big thing. There's certain figures like that Wakanda Forever Wave. I think they're all like $13 now.
Yeah.
So, and I was banking on that. I knew it was going to happen. So now I'm like, okay. Because I like the Build-A-Figure. So I was like, oh, I want that Build-A-Figure, but I'm waiting until those figures drop because I can't stand a suited figure. I can't stand a plain clothes figure.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah.
If these motherfuckers out there in a suit and tie, you're not going on my shelf. I'm going to take you out back and wrap some fireworks on you and treat you like my fucking old Gizmo.
I've been waiting for that banner, though. That's the comic guy. And
so
he's in the lab coat.
That's the only one that does that, and maybe, MCU Tony.
Okay.
Those are the only ones I'm like, okay, I'm okay with plain clothes for those two. Banner from the comics.
The comics, yeah, where he has the classic lab jacket, glasses on, suit on.
And MCU Tony Stark. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, and Nick Fury, but that's just how we dress.
Yeah.
So, I'm not holding against him. But Otherwise, if it's a plain clothes figure, I don't want it. Because like most of my figures are in some kind of battle pose or battle setup, so it's like I don't want to have like.
So were you ever in on that Aunt May figure they showed? That's
No.
from the animation. Okay.
Not at all. That comes with the Doc Ock.
Doc Ock, yeah. The
I
animation
considered
Doc
it
Ock.
because of the bendable arms. Then I was like, nah, I'm good. Like, I barely got room for the villains that I have.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why get more? Like, I almost got Morph because I think he's on BBTS for 24. And I was like, I don't, because everybody was like crying about, oh, we want Morph, we want a Morph figure. Not
like,
me.
Why? Why do you want to morph?
Like, yeah. Like, Morph
He was in the first episode, right? In the animation, then he gets killed.
He wasn't important. He was so unimportant that they left him.
Yeah, they left him and he died.
Like, Cyclops left him.
Yeah, and Cyclops is supposed to be team leader.
Yeah. Wolverine's the only one that cared. But he's got emotional issues himself, so like he latched onto a little Chinese girl. Like he's got emotional issues, dude. So like don't like everybody's like, oh, we want Morph. Like we need a Morph figure. Yay. Like no you don't. Morph sucks. Like get Mystique.
When they debuted that, people were loving it. So
I guess. Like I don't know. Like that was I guess that was something that always got me though. It was like with certain figures though. It's like, well, what do you want from a figure? You know, what like if you're collecting a line, like are you collecting a team? Are you trying to collect like a full team or like even like the Cabal, you know, something like that, or the Illuminati, or are you trying to get like the Gold and Blue X-Men team, X Factor, X Force? What do you do? Which version of X Force? The Uncanny X Force, or you get in the original Liefeld X Force? There's just so many different like options. So then that's where this game starts getting played with me, at least. I was like, shit, how much money do I want to spend?
and
And
how long are you willing to wait for holes that you want to fill?
yeah, I
Like,
mean,
what are the longest standing holes? You probably have what are Farrell and from X Force and what else?
Rachel Summers,
From Excalibur.
Excalibur, and a proper Wolfsbane.
Okay, from New Mutants. Yeah.
So it's really only 3 for me.
Okay, because they've done the rest of the Excalibur figures, right? They did they finally did the blue costume Shadowcat. They finally did Megan.
Yep, Captain Britain,
And they did.
Nightcrawler.
Okay.
So, like for that, I'm good. Now, right now, I'm 3 figures into Gen X.
Oh yeah, that was the other ones that they've started to do. They did Chamber. They did who else? M. And who else?
And White Queen.
Okay. So they did the White Queen with pants.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
For that.
So
They need to do a Gen X Jubilee with her full costume change.
Now that's going to be the question: is like,
Are they going to go that far?
I just feel like why not?
Yeah, and they need Sync, they need Skin,
Yeah,
they need
Husk.
Husk
Penance. I feel like there's
Is that it, right?
Mondo.
Oh, Mondo, yeah, okay.
He might be a builder.
I don't remember. Yeah, because he's one of the physically larger characters, right?
Yeah.
So he'd be a build figure, maybe.
But that would be the last mutant team of the '90s for me to get. And if they
what
do,
about the AOA stuff?
yeah,
they pretty
I was
much
gonna
completed
say,
those?
No, they haven't. If they did any more of those, because they still have, technically, they have enough to do one more wave. Technically,
And have a builder figure with it, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now the question is, will they do it? Because those waves, I think the first wave did decent. The
second wave did not. Which is odd because the first wave was the Sugarman builder figure where all the individual figures. I'm not an X-Men guy at all, and I bought that whole wave. And I didn't care about Sugarman at all.
No.
So, I mean,
And the second wave,
the builder figure was the Colossus, which you think would be sought after, but it didn't really sell as well. Because the individual characters were not as good as the first one, right?
like so, the individuals were Shadowcat.
They did Cyclops in the second one, right?
Hold on, give me 1 second. Shadowcat, Sabretooth, Cyclops.
Wild
Yes.
Child, right?
I think Wild Child was in the first wave
Okay.
because Sabretooth was in the second one.
Oh, that's right.
Who else? Let me look over there. I can't really see. I know Legion was in the first one. Maybe Sunfire. I think he was in the first one. Sunfire was in the first one.
Yeah. Legion was in the second one.
What's that?
Legion was in the second one, right?
Legion was in the first one.
Oh, okay.
Changeling was in the first one. It's hard to see because I got shit blocking. Because I know the bulk of them are on that top shelf. Or like, not the top shelf, but like the bottom two shelves are the Age of Apocalypse. But, like, they could do a third wave.
Because they never did Havoc yet, right?
That would be one.
Yeah, that's the other one I would want. To go with the evil
they could do
Cyclops.
Sinister.
Right.
They could. I don't know if they should, but they could do Forge.
Did they do Gambit from that one?
So let's take out Forge and put Gambit there.
Yeah.
Storm, Quicksilver.
Oh, they never did Storm in her.
No, and she was important.
Yeah, because her costume was totally different for AOA.
We got Magneto was in the second wave.
Yeah, they already did him. They already did Rogue.
Rogue was in the second wave as well. Iceman was in the second wave.
Yep.
And then Holocaust could be their Build-A-Figure.
Because he's a bigger character. Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, there's room to do another AOA.
Yeah.
And I would get it.
Mm-hmm.
But like honestly, when I'm looking around, it's like okay, all of my '90s stuff is pretty much collected. Do I need every '90s villain? Not really.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's some cool ones still out there that I'd be like, okay, I'll jump in. But as far as my collection goes, mutant wise, I'm pretty set. Anything else now is just fucking funsies.
Okay.
Some spider figures I get.
And along the way, you've managed to get all these other ones that are either movie or Avengers related.
So I started going in on the MCU stuff.
Yeah, because the movies were getting popular for a while in the first and second, third phases.
But there was kind of a cutoff. There was a for sure cutoff point for the MCU for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really to kind of either get the Infinity War or Endgame kind of battle group.
Cast, yeah.
The only ones that I'm really missing is Drax.
Oh, okay.
And I think that is really it. Drax is
the movie Drax.
Yeah.
Did they ever get one that actually looked like Batista?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I know they do the CG sculpting or whatever now to match actors' faces. And over the past few years, that's greatly improved. Like when they first started, it was kind of wonky. But now they can match the actors pretty close.
I think the newest Drax definitely looks like Batista.
Yeah,
but
from the new box wave, right, for Guardians Volume 3.
Yeah, and like right now, there is a Drax that I see on eBay I could grab. It's not too bad.
Okay.
But it's like it's unboxed and you want to you want like $30 some for it. It's like like nah, maybe not. So the question that becomes for me is like, is it really that important? Like if somebody walks by that display, are they gonna say, hey, you're missing a Drax? Because if they do, I'm gonna stab them. Like it's that simple.
Mm.
So, like, basically the point that I'm making is if you come to my house and you look at my display and you say Drax is missing, you're going to be missing. And that's from the heart.
Damn, doctor.
Just let me talk about my fucking toys, son. That's all.
You even got some DC figures over there.
Yeah, I got a Justice League, like a bullshit-ass Justice League. I don't even know what I was thinking when I did that one. Oh, you know what?
I mean, you got 6 characters. You don't. It's one shy of the big 7. Who would be your 7th character for your Justice League?
I almost got Martian Manhunter.
Okay, I was gonna say, what you say, Martian Manhunter or Plastic Man?
Yeah, definitely want that Plastic Man.
Or would it be Arrow?
Sophie wanted me to do Cyborg.
Or okay, so that's the. To me, the big 7th member should classically should either be Arrow or Martian Manhunter. But now since the cartoons have modernized things, and since the New 52, Cyborg's a major player more than he used to be.
Yeah.
So
and also I'm not a classic guy, so
yeah.
I don't really have any attachment to Justice League whatsoever. I started reading DC really kind of latched on with New 52 anyway.
Yeah.
So
Cyborg makes sense.
Cyborg would be more really honestly. That's more of a Sophie decision because she likes Cyborg from Teen Titans Go.
Of course.
So she was like, "Dad, you got to get a Cyborg." I was like, "Baby, they don't have one right now, and I don't know that I want one." I actually almost took that display down this weekend to put the new Spider-Man up.
Oh, okay.
I was like, "Man, fuck these guys. I don't want these motherfuckers up here no more." Like Batman fell down the other day. Flash looked like he leaning. He didn't have his V8. And Aquaman in the back. This motherfucker looks like a fish out of water, literally.
That's a good looking Aquaman. That was the new
like, I think
McFarlane one.
honestly, the only reason I even put that together is because I got that John Stewart up there, and I was like, let's build around him. And all of them were $15, like
Okay.
or they're 15 or less. So
Yeah.
that's why I got them. Otherwise, I don't care. I like fuck those guys. And I got my Harleys over there. I'm not sure why that happened, but it did. Like I got a Star Wars display over there. I'm not sure why that happened, but it did. Like
Wanda's your favorite female character, right? You
Yeah.
don't have a display for her yet. You got the picture up.
well, because I didn't feel like putting up another floating shelf.
Okay.
Like,
Because you got a ton of Wandas, right? You have almost
I
every
got
version that's come out,
like
haven't you?
1, 2, 3, maybe 5. 1, 2.
Because they've done a bunch of versions.
3, 4, 5. At least 5
Okay.
Wandas / Scarlet Witches around here somewhere.
They're from either the comics or the MCU or the animated stuff.
Actually, in my Amazon cart right now, I have the retro West Coast Avengers Wanda in there as
Right.
well. I just haven't pulled the trigger because, again, why? Why do I need it? So why am I even fucking holding it in the cart? And I think like one of the times Teresa went to buy something off my Amazon, and she said, "Oh, that's what it was, that Batman up there." She bought that Batman because it was in the cart, and she was like, "Fuck it, I'll buy it because it was $15." So I was like, sucker. Like, you keep forgetting your card's attached to my Amazon. Piss me off.
Oh, no.
Watch how much shit I'll buy.
It's attached to your Amazon.
Dude,
Wow, that's wild.
I'll buy 3 more Strife sets. Like $375, rung up quick.
Woo.
They were like, wait, so what's going on here? Like, I didn't order those, but I did, and I'm selling them now. It's not like you can sell them for that much, because, I mean, they're like, it's not like they're selling out, and people are like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like that 3-pack with Scott, Jean, and Wolverine.
Yeah, it sold pretty well.
That shit went quick. I pre-ordered it and got it. But, hold on. I got to pause it real quick. All right. Sorry about that. We are back. I had to...
Did you save it?
I don't need to save. I'm not Bobby. I'll be messing up.
Are you kidding? After all the problems you've had?
I just have audio problems. I don't be losing episodes. Like, my audio don't be sounding like... Bobby's audio be sounding tight, but they be losing episodes. My audio be sounding like trash, but all my trash is here. Like, I keep all my trash in one can. So I had to pause for a second because there's a UFC card on tonight, and Amanda Nunes beat the shit out of Irene Aldana, and then she retired. So I just had to see what was going on.
So that's the BJJ second in the Nerd Rage cast.
No, that's MMA, but tomato.
MMA.
I mean, I can't help that you don't know, but I'm helping you, Phil. I'm trying to help you. So for those of you who might have been checking in for some kind of jiu-jitsu talk, 28 minutes in.
You have to clip that for the beginning of the episode.
Like, there you have it. Don't ask for no more. Because they used to have, like, I think they still do have some UFC figures, but I remember they had, like, the figures out a few years back, and I was like, I should get some of those. No, I shouldn't. Like, why? Like, sometimes I want to, like, kind of put some of these figures in, like, fight positions, but they're not as bendy as you would think they are.
No.
But then again, I never really fucked with, like, bending the knees with the double knee joint. I never fucked with that until the Spider-Man figures got in.
Yeah, because Spider-Man, you can dynamically pose however you want, and it'll still look normal for him because he can do pretty much any pose.
Yeah. Like, a lot of my other figures, I was like, oh, they do have the double knee joint, but I don't need to use those. But I could put them in fight positions to make it work. Like some jiu-jitsu positions to make it work and make it look reasonable, but I don't need to. I might do it OnlyFans and it's just me playing with action figures. Like, someone told me that shit. That is like, you should make an OnlyFans that's just you playing with action figures doing jiu-jitsu and saying, well, you guys get the idea. And I was like, yeah, that actually wouldn't be a bad move, but it would only work for like a week. For motherfuckers be like, okay, we're sick of this guy.
Yeah, but you could do that on TikTok too.
I mean, I could do that in my underwear. I mean, then I'll fit in, I guess. Put on a bra with some oranges in there. It's like, I mean, again, it would only last for a week because people are like, oh my god, we fell for it again. Like, you dumb fucks.
I think they would have longer hanging time on TikTok.
Maybe. I know how that ends though. Like motherfuckers just want to come on and troll and just talk shit, and I was like, shut up. That's like.
Isn't that what happens everywhere on social media though?
Yeah, because everybody's tough on social media. It's like, oh, I'm gonna make fun of you because I can do it from a distance. I'm getting under your skin. I'm making you mad. But the second that I'm waiting outside of the fucking Waffle House for you, all of a sudden you're trying to figure out where you went wrong in life.
Probably by going to Waffle House in the first place.
Hey, I mean, what's up now? I was there waiting for you, son. Where was you at? Bitch ass. In case you're all wondering, I'm just talking about an imaginary person. I didn't wait for somebody at a Waffle House. I'm not a psychopath. But when it comes to Legends, for you, what's your main focal collection?
Probably mostly Spider-Man, because that's my big three characters for Marvel have been since childhood have been Spider-Man, Hulk, and Venom. And Spider-Man and Venom kind of go hand in hand because Venom classically was one of Spider-Man's big bads, even though he's not really anymore. So those characters, when stuff gets made for one kind of stuff gets made for the other one. Hulk has been basically the big hole in most people's collections if they're a big Marvel fan, because Hulk's Rogues Gallery is not as well known as, even though he's been a fan favorite character for a long time, his bad guy list isn't as well known as a lot of other characters, or he shares a lot of bad guys with other characters. Like there's several crossover villains between Spider-Man and Hulk that or Hulk and the Avengers in general.
Yeah.
And on top of that, because the rights issue with his movie character, Hasbro hasn't been really, or Hasbro in working with Marvel hasn't really been willing to support the Hulk character by making a product line for him. So it's weird how long has Hasbro held the rights for Marvel Legends now since Toy Biz went under.
Dude.
It's been at least almost 15 years now, right? Because they're doing the 20th anniversary figures now for the old Toy Biz line, and there was a couple-year gap between Hasbro picking up the rights and Toy Biz going bust, I believe. So I think it's been roughly 15 years that Hasbro's had the rights, been doing Marvel Legends slowly, and then they've ramped them up over the years.
I would say at least 15.
And it's just this year, 2023, is the first time we're getting a comic-accurate Bruce Banner figure, which is the Hulk's other half. And the Hulk and Banner have been one of the more popular Marvel characters since the beginning of the Marvel Universe back in the early 60s. Yeah. So that says a lot about what Hasbro Marvel is willing to put out for a Hulk line, that they're not even willing to do his human half until now.
I think also another thing, too, with the Hulk, the figures that they've put out, it's always, if they're doing a comic version of Hulk, it's always attached to another character. I mean, you had the Wolverine, the Incredible Hulk 181 set, basically.
That's true.
You had, the Legends 20th anniversary Hulk that's over there. Those are only two that I can think of off the top. I think there was another one. But, there's no like...
Well, they've done two Build-A-Figures of two different versions of the Abomination.
Yeah.
One from the video game, one from the comic, and both of them because they're tied to other stuff. One was from the Avengers video game, so they had an excuse to do that one.
Yeah.
And the other from the comic book, because the comic book version of the Abomination has been a villain to a lot of things, not just the Hulk. And plus, the leader, they finally did an actual comic book leader version recently because it was tied to the video game as well.
Yes.
And like those are big crossover villains. MODOK's a crossover villain for the Hulk as well. Yeah, and that's basically it. All the other Hulk villains that are known to the comic book fans haven't really been touched for Hulk.
I mean, unfortunately for the fans, that is something that, Hasbro kind of, links everything together with the movies. Like, well, look, there's a popularity here with this character, so we have to build this line. Or this character has a movie, so we know we can get away with doing it. I mean, we get Ant-Man stuff, and
Yeah, I mean, Ant-Man coming is more popular than Hulk. That's not even. I don't see how that could be possible.
No.
But it's because
well,
the movie.
I mean, I remember when they announced the Ant-Man movie, my friend Winter laughed about it. She was like, Ant-Man, that sounds fucking ridiculous. What the fuck is that? I was like,
I mean, but names-wise, there's really no difference between that and Spider-Man. But Spider-Man's just way more popular.
well, that's true.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Is like, well, Spider-Man has all this stuff where you know who Spider-Man is.
Yeah.
Whereas Ant-Man, she's not a comic book fan, so she doesn't know what the fuck Ant-Man is.
And Ant-Man's been around almost as long as Spider-Man has in the comics, technically, but is just nowhere near as popular.
No. So, I mean, again, that's how Hasbro plays it, though. It's like, well, what's going to be popular? Because, I mean, even before I was collecting, and I go back now and look at old waves, I mean, there's tons of X-Men stuff with Marvel Legends. I mean, there's, fucking Jubilee had a Build-A-Figure, through Legends, shit like that. So I'm like, damn, dude. But again, X-Men have always been wildly popular.
Yeah, X-Men and Spider-Man are the two money markets for Marvel, whether you're talking about comics or movies or whatever. Those are the two, either Spider-Man as the solo character or X-Men as the team. Yeah. Those will always sell. They do remarkably well compared to everything else.
I mean, the Avengers only started really picking up after the movies hit, and even then, it was still kind of like,
it was a slow start, and then once the first Avengers team movie hit, and it blew up, then people were like, oh wow, we're going to pay attention to this now, at least for the general public.
Yeah. So, I always wonder, when it comes to a lot of how they organize the teams, because now you're starting to see Avengers West Coast stuff upcoming.
It's cool to see. You get some deeper cuts in there with comic book versions.
Then they try to do things like they're doing us a favor by giving us characters like Egghead. It was like,
now that's getting like, I know who that is because I used to collect Defenders comics, but unless you were a huge Defenders fan from the 70s, you don't know who the fuck Egghead is. He's like a D or E-list villain.
I mean, I was gonna say, D-list is generous there, my friend.
he's even like they're doing some deep cuts for stuff that I don't know if it's really who they're pulling for with those.
No, and that's what kind of frustrated me with that Ant-Man wave where they put Egghead in there, future Ant-Man, and there's one other I can't remember. Crossfire? I think that's what it was called. It doesn't matter because nobody wants them. Because I was like, I wanted to get the Cassie Lang Build-A-Figure.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, I don't want to buy those 3 figures.
Yep.
That will have no place in my collection at all. I look around here and I'm like, where could any of those go?
It's strange when I see stuff like that because it's like, I know who that is, but that's even a pull for me, and I'm pretty hardcore Marvel fan. So when I see stuff like that, I'm like thinking the list of characters in my head that is like, why did you do that when there's like, I can think of at least 10 characters that would sell better than that and would be more sought after that you guys haven't touched. And those are like Spider-Man villains, or no, I'm not even talking about Hulk villains, but like Spider-Man villains or X-Men villains. Like, why aren't you doing these more popular characters?
Well, even with the Spider-Man villains, it's almost kind of like with Spider-Man lines in general, it's like a rotating door. They just continue to do the same thing.
Yeah, they continue to do, we got the 13th Pizza Spidey out. Well, great. Yeah, you get it with pinless arms, but you haven't done any of these certain characters that people would be looking for.
Yeah. Like, I mean, even with, like, there's so many, different Miles Morales, which, don't get me wrong, he's an extremely popular character, but how many do you need?
Yeah. I mean, you could do some other villains for him. Like, you could do a couple different versions of his Uncle Aaron with various personas he's had, because he's been in the Steel Spider suit. He's been of various versions of the Prowler. I mean, you could do other villains for Miles.
There was so I remember, I can't remember who to build a figure. It might have been Lizard build a figure, but they had I felt like a fun selection. I think they had like Spider-Woman, maybe Spider-Man.
Yeah, the Lizard Build-A-Figure was definitely one of the better Spider-Man waves, because I got that whole set.
And that was a set that I passed on, but now I look back on it in retrospect and I'm like, fuck, I should have got that.
That Build-A-Figure wave, and I remember there was the the Rhino Build-A-Figure wave that was really good, and then the Hobgoblin Build-A-Figure wave that was really good.
So I think I came
Those three kind of were rapid succession, one after another, over the course of like a year and a half.
Okay, so yeah, the Hobgoblin had Mayday Parker in that set, and then another Spider-Woman, another Jessica Drew. And then like that burgundy, like the full burgundy suit.
Yep.
Because this was like right on the tail end of me coming into collecting, so I didn't.
And
know
they also
what
did
was what.
The Build-A-Figure itself wasn't that great, but it was the Flash Space Venom Space Knight.
Yes.
Where the Venom Space Knight was not that great as a Build-A-Figure, but all the figures in the wave were characters that people wanted.
So that was
what was in
the second wave that I went after because I got the X-Men wave, the Juggernaut wave. Then in that wave had Miles Morales.
Yep.
It had obviously a Peter. It had Barton. It was Spider-Woman. I can't remember the first name, but it was like
one of the younger Spider-Woman characters. Yeah.
Who else was in that? Electro.
Yep.
Hobgoblin.
The Electro and Hobgoblin in that set were pretty sought after.
And I missed both of those.
Yeah, those were the ones that went up in price on eBay.
And even Sarah was like, pay whatever you need to get that Hobgoblin figure.
Yeah, because that Hobgoblin came with had some of the best accessories. It came with a glider. It came with the pumpkin bombs. It came with a switch-out head. It was like that was back when they were doing accessories that were really worth your money. And like Electro came with like a couple electric effects, so it really worked.
Who else was in that? Because those were the only two that I missed.
Yeah.
But I ended up getting...
and remember, the Mysterio, whichever one he came... He was one of the most expensive Spider-Man figures on eBay for a while. The Mysterio that came with the one wave for a bit.
Yeah.
Because it was a long time before they ever put out another Mysterio.
Silk. Silk was in that.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That's what
Silk
it was.
was another one that was popular.
Because I think, I stumbled upon that wave. Actually, as a matter of fact, I remember I gave Sophie, she was an infant, she's like a toddler or whatever. I gave her the Spider-Man figure because she recognized Spider-Man, she liked Spider-Man, so I was like, "Here, take it, you can have it."
Yeah, there's 20 Spider-Man.
I was like, "Oh, wait a minute. Like, every time a Spider-Man wave comes out, I can't get a Spider-Man. Get my Spider-Man back." What the fuck does this look like? Fucking charity? Get out of here, little kid. Get your own fucking Spider-Man. Get a job, bitch. Fuck that kid. But yeah, like when it comes to the Spider-Man waves, after that, you start seeing some cuts, like some deeper cuts, but then also repeating just trends, repeating characters, and it's like over and over and over. But again, Hasbro knew, we can make money off this because we know it sells well. We know people want this.
Yeah, each time they got to look at, I guess they view it as, we need to bring in a new audience, and this new audience probably doesn't have a regular Spider-Man, so let's do another Spider-Man.
We get the same thing with Iron Man and Captain America. How many of those are out there?
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, both Captain America and Iron Man figures, even though there's one in every set, they disappear quick.
Yeah, because they're mainstays. Those are evergreen characters.
Like Wolverine's also,
There's a different Wolverine over, and I guess Spider-Man has had a whole bunch of costumes, but Wolverine has had slight costume changes over the years. So
I mean,
they've been doing a different version of Wolverine almost every time.
When you look at the Wolverine collection I have over there, everyone's different except for like two of them.
Yep.
Have like relatively similar outfits.
And even those similar ones, there are differences that are noticeable if you've been a fan of the comics for a long time.
I mean, and honestly, when I even look at that Wolverine collection I have up there, that's almost kind of an accidental one too, because it was like I wasn't intending to have a Wolverine.
You got so many
collection.
X-Men waves, you got every Wolverine.
Yeah, well, yeah, it got to that point, but then also I started realizing, look, they had an occasional one here and there. I was like, let me just fucking.
Yeah, because they've done a couple carded ones that are separate figures. Yeah.
So I think I missed one of the carded ones, and I think this was like one of their first waves. I was ignorant to collecting because I wasn't really collecting. In my mind, it was like, well, I already have this Wolverine. Why buy another one? It was like, because one's inside the case with the X-Men team, and that same one that's in that case, there was a carded one that could be sitting there on that shelf right now.
Right.
That looks exactly alike. The crazy thing is when they did the carded Gambit right after they dropped that Caliban wave.
Yeah.
like 4 months previously, he was like, "Oh well, we're just gonna put out another Gambit." I'm like, okay, like
because they knew that the Caliban wave, the Gambit in there, sold quickly and people were looking for it.
it didn't though.
Oh no,
No.
Oh, I thought the Gambit was sought
Well,
after.
he was the one that didn't come with a builder figure piece too,
okay.
like he was available. He was easily available. Then he dropped a carded one, and it was like, okay, well now we got kind of a double whammy. Now that Rogue one that they dropped right around the same time with that Gambit,
Yeah, the carded one.
like because everybody was still trying.
Yeah, I think
to
I
get a
found
Rogue.
that for you at some
Yeah.
random Target.
So that's the one that I have in the case up there. The one that you got.
The 90s one, yeah.
I have the original one from the Juggernaut set in there. It's just like, it's just Rogue. Like I got so many of them now. It's like, fuck it, just start giving away as like, consolation prizes for being on the podcast. I think I gave one of my teammates like some of the comics that Joe sent us out with.
Oh really?
I had a teammate come over record. It was like, hey, you like Deadpool? Here's some books. Like the price tag. I was like, dude, it's worth $100. Oh, here's another one. Like, I was worth $200. Get the fuck out of my face. Thanks for being on the show. They like make it seem like I'm doing people a favor. I'm not. I'm just trying to clear out clutter. Like, thanks, Dante. But when we look at Marvel Legends, I mean, again, there are the waves and the characters that we're going to see tons of: Spider-Man, Wolverines, Iron Man, Captain America, and fucking Deadpools. Like, there's so many Deadpools. I got a fucking Deadpool collection on the bottom shelf over there too, accidentally. Actually, that wasn't even my intent. I just end up with a bunch of fucking Deadpools for no reason. I was like, fine, fuck it. Let me just go ahead and keep building on it. Really, when I look at it too, there's a lot of Cyclops figures.
Yeah,
Like,
Cyclops is a repeat guy.
Even when I looked at that Spider-Man 3-pack from the movie. So, Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man figure is, I thought I'd never say this, but that is my favorite one of that set.
Really?
He's the funnest one to pose.
Uh-huh.
And in his paint, the paint on it is really good.
Did they end up doing a face sculpt a human face sculpt for each one from the actors?
So, the thing about that,
yeah.
that's going to be coming out in a wave this fall.
Okay. Because I wasn't sure if they'd get a Tobey Maguire or not from his face sculpt.
They got one.
That's pretty cool.
It'll be out this fall. I'm pissed.
Okay.
Because I have that one there.
Uh-huh.
But, I'm going to, because I think the Build-A-Figure is going to be Sandman, I believe. Sandman or Lizard. I can't remember.
But so it's not a 3-pack with the 3 actors. It's an actual wave.
It's going to be a movie wave.
Okay.
And
for No Way Home.
From what I understand, it'll be those 3. I believe.
I think do a Defoe Goblin?
Yes.
Wow.
Goblin will be in it.
Okay.
MJ will be in it. The 3 Spider-Man will be in it. I can't remember who the 6th one will be.
You Doctor Strange. A Cumberbatch Doctor Strange again.
I will set the world on fire if that is the case. I think it's going to be... Because Electro is not mentioned in any of these. So I think...
Jimmy Fox said, no, you're not going to take my face.
He was like, no, not today.
No, not today.
I think... it's going to be Sandman as the other figure. I think Lizard's the Build-A-Figure. And Doc Ock is going to be a deluxe one off on his own.
You think they got, what's his name face for Doc Ock?
I mean, if that is the case, I'm getting it.
That is a character I would probably
I'm a
get.
fucking sucker, dude.
Especially if it's a separate box and I don't have to get the whole wave.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. It's like, I want the Defoe Goblin.
Yeah, the Defoe Goblin would be cool.
And I want the 3 Spider-Man with the face sculpts. I don't care for an MJ figure.
Yeah. Look,
I don't care for a Sandman figure.
Yeah, Zendaya, she's okay as MJ. I don't really care about her.
I like her as a human. She seems
she's a
funny.
nice enough person, but...
I think if she and Tom Holland had a kid right now, that would save the world.
Probably.
But apparently he tried. He tried to, propose to her. She was like, nah, so thanks for...
Really?
That's why we got all that smoke down here from Canada.
From this... Tom Holland's proposal just went up in smoke?
Yeah. I don't know when he proposed, but...
Really? Because they dated for a little bit during the movies, right?
Yeah, I think this is old news, though.
Yeah, it's probably old news, yeah.
I think it's like super old news, but still, it's fucked up, man. They could have saved the world. And she said,
They
nah.
had a perfect child together?
Yeah, it would have been the perfect, like, union, and everyone would have been happy. It would have been like Bill and Ted, you know,
Yeah.
like Wild Stallions. The world's like at peace, and you know, the Ukrainians were like, "Hey, Russia, come on over and hang out." And Russia was like, "Yeah, you guys want to have some vodka? You know, sit down and have some tea with vodka."
Everything would
in
be
it.
right with the world.
Yeah, it would all be great. But Zendaya was like, "Nah."
Zendaya and Tom Holland's children could lead us into the future.
But
He's a perfect
instead,
Disney child.
they said, "Fuck all the way off," and here we are now. Listen to Off the Mats. Oh well. But yeah, I don't have any interest in a figure just because again, like plain clothes figures that mean nothing to me. Number one and number two, it's like I'm sure there are other. Like I'm trying to think, is there anyone else they could have done? I'm sure there is. They could have given us Ned's grandma, give us a figure of her or something. I don't fucking know. It's fucking dumb. Like some of these things are so fucking stupid. It's like, well, why don't they dick us around like they did with the Ant-Man wave? Give us some fucking useless Spider-Man character that nobody asked for. Give us fucking I'm trying to think. There was one I can't remember now because I just saw the comic the other day. It was like, like that's
like a Z-list villain.
Yeah, it's like that's a.
They did Frogman already, so that's pretty obscure. And he's so popular they put him in the She-Hulk show.
Man,
which was
sometimes I just like I see shit like that. And I'm like, yo, if you give me a bottle of bleach right now, I'll down it. Like we can wrap this all up right now. Just you find me the bleach. I'll go get it myself. It's just like dumb shit like that because it's like, oh, let's make a Frogman character. We know people are clamoring for that. Are they? Like, what 5-year-old asks for that?
Nobody.
Like, no 5-year-old asks for that. You know what 5-year-old asks for? The one with the extra chromosome. That's the one.
Damn.
Like, nobody wants that fucking character. God, I'm so angry now. Fuck. Frogman, yo, it's so stupid. Like, that was a waste of a figure in that not No Way Home, but Spider-Verse wave as well.
What? Oh.
Because it was like Frogman, the Hand, and there was another figure. But like the characters from the movie, they had Spider-Gwen, Miles,
yeah,
and Peter B. Parker,
yeah,
who can't stand up. That's another figure I had that won't stand up. I gave him a stand, he still doesn't stand up.
Oh no!
I was like, "Are you?"
And they did the Prowler right from that.
Yes, the Prowler was the other one.
Yeah.
So never mind. They did the Hand and Frogman were the two.
And then the Build-A-Figure was Stiltman, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, I mean,
Stiltman's more
That's-
famous from Daredevil than anything else. He's been more famous than Frogman in the comics.
I mean, at least like Stiltman's like, you know, people. Oh, Stiltman. Okay, we get it. Like Frogman is like people are like who?
Yeah, Frogman's a consistent joke. Stiltman's actually been a villain here.
It's
and
like
there.
Frogman. Are we doing Ninja Turtle characters now? The fuck is this? Battletoads?
Yeah, he looked like a cheap version of Battletoad.
Look like dog shit is what he looked like. Fucking hate that shit. But you know, when I look at a lot of the shit, like a lot of this plastic that's on the shelves in my basement right now, you know, they get me on nostalgia. They get most of us on nostalgia. It's like, okay, we're gonna put these things out because we know you will attach to it through childhood. And it's like, okay, you got me on that. And then there's some pieces, again, I just buy a wave because it's like there are like 4 figures in a wave. There's 6 in the wave. It's like I may as well get the other 2 to make the Build-A-Figure. You know, why are we fucking around? So, you know, like what's his name from the Reavers? I don't have any need for the Reavers. I don't give a fuck about them.
Oh, the Bone Crusher tank guy, right?
Yeah, but it's like, oh, I'm already there. You may as well just buy the rest of them. Like, sure, I want a Vulcan figure. You know, Vulcan who's got no accessories. He even come with extra hands, I don't think.
That's pretty lame.
I just think he's just a dude in a box. He's a fucking Omega level mutant.
Yeah, give him some power up
Like,
or accessories or something.
Give me an effect. Something. They'll do a fucking carded figure with some accessories just to piss me off.
In another 2 years.
Like,
when they write him back into the comics somehow, they'll was like, oh, we got to do a figure in for him again.
Well, like I remember the first Marvel Legend that I actually bought was Scarlet Spider, Ben Reilly, out the Rhino set.
Oh, the classic with the hoodie, yeah.
Mm-hmm. That was the very first figure I ever bought, and I think shortly after that, Sarah got me Spider-Gwen, but what set was she a part of?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but I remember
Spider-Gwen was part of one of the Build-A-Figure sets later on.
yeah, she got that for me because I remember when I worked for Kaiser, and I actually had a desk, like a legit desk. It was mine. I'd sit there every day. I had those 2 figures on my desk.
Oh, really?
And, you know, people come by, fucking bother me like, bitch, I'm on the phone. What the fuck you want? Oh, I like your figures. They're so cute. They're not meant to be cute. Get the fuck away from me. I'm dealing with patients right now. What the fuck you want? But basically, they was annoying. If the sound seems like it's a little weird, it's because the audio stopped and I had to pick it back up. So, you're welcome. I'm being very honest and transparent with you hoes. So, the one thing we're kind of talking about as we're going to kind of get up to a wrap-up point here is legends as we like I have a list kind of what's coming out the rest of this year, but like going into 2024, give me 3 figures that you would absolutely love to see.
3 that I actually think they will have a shot of being made, or just
what you want to see.
Okay. I want to see a Professor Hulk.
Okay.
Either, and it could be either in the tank top with the guns, which is be the most popular, but I would be just as valid, if not more so, in the brown jumpsuit from the Pantheon.
Okay.
That would probably be my number 1 because we haven't had a proper Professor Hulk character. I would like to see a Doc Samson, whether it's in the classic Lightning Bolt or in my favorite suit, which was the late 80s and early 90s with the red shoulder pads and the ponytail. That would be the more popular suit, but the classic Lightning Bolt would be just as valid. Okay. That'd probably be my number 2, which is also a Hulk-related character, obviously. And then I'd say for a villain, it would probably be something Hulk-related too. Probably, and this would be, they could do either version. One would have to be a Build-A-Figure, would be Madman. Okay. I think that'd probably be the most valid Hulk-centric villain that they could do. And there were 2 versions of him, obviously. There's one in the dandy-looking costume with the mask and the cape, which was his debut. And then there's the mutated version, which would have to be a Build-A-Figure, a big Hulk-like brown guy.
Yeah. I mean, fair picks. I mean,
and all those are popular characters. So,
well, you know, the Doc Samson one. As soon as you said it, it came right to me. I was like, yes.
So the other thing that I think is a travesty that they haven't made, but it would only be a plainclothes version, would be Rick Jones. He's the Marvel sidekick to do. He's been the Hulk sidekick initially, but he's been a sidekick to like 10 other characters that they still haven't done a Rick Jones. It's just as bad as not doing a Dr. Banner for this long.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. It's like what's going through Hasbro's mind when they're doing certain things. And I mean, obviously, like we were saying earlier, it's a popularity money thing. You know, who's getting movies? What you know, what can we build off of this? Yeah. And at the end of the day, you fucking make the figures. People are gonna buy them. I mean, what did they make? White Rabbit. It's like,
oh yes,
who asked for that?
Nobody asked for that. And look, the figure was well made. It had a lot of cool accessories, a lot of cool detail and sculpt. But, I mean, nobody asked for that character. No one. Nobody.
I saw a lot of them in the stores.
Yep, and nobody was buying it. Except, I think that came with the Build-A-Figure piece. So if they wanted to build a figure, they got it. But
I mean, you know, that... And
all those the Captain Marvel characters from the movie that that not many people liked, those stood on the pegs for a long time.
Yeah. The Eternals.
Yeah, the Eternals, those were peg warmers forever.
I have the full Eternal set on that bottom shelf. You know why? Cost less than $10.
For the whole set, right? Yeah. They were all clearanced.
I could have probably still saved
I don't think I bought any of those.
Buying them. There's none of them that are really worth buying. I mean, and part of it is...
And I actually didn't mind the Eternals movie. I like that movie.
I think a big part of it was the movie, though, with a lot of people not wanting to buy the characters. They like, because, I didn't mind the movie. I thought the movie was fine. But I think a lot of people, especially when it comes to collecting now, is like, well, you know, these characters don't resonate with me. I don't really know. The movie didn't really draw me in, so I'm not going to buy these. And that's the same thing that happened with Captain Marvel. Like, people, I think there's more going on with Captain Marvel besides the movie being a rush project, but I think people really dislike Brie Larson.
Yeah.
Although they did show the new wave for
they
Marvels.
showed one that's patterned after her face, and it looks like a good representation of her.
Yeah,
I don't know how well
it
it will sell.
I liked it. I was like, I like this. I don't need it.
Yeah,
but I like it.
It'll probably depend on how well the movie does, how well that thing sells.
Yeah,
that's my guess.
But yeah, like if I had to think of 3 figures I want to see.
Yeah, what are 3? Well, you kind of already named them, right? You and Farrell.
Yeah, I mean it'd probably be those 3 that would complete my collection at least. Yeah, Farrell, Rachel Summers, and a proper Wolfsbane.
What about for a villain?
For a villain, Shadow King.
Oh, like the proper Shadow King, not just the one you have to hodgepodge together?
Yeah, I want to see a proper Shadow King.
You mean like the full Fat Man Shadow King, or the actual psionic representation of him, like the Black Cloud figure?
I think just to be on the safe side, full Fat Man.
Okay.
Because that could get tricky, aka sloppy.
Yeah.
And because I got a feeling at some point they're going to do the Brood.
Yeah, that's one I would want, just because
I could see that getting sloppy as well, or it could be very, very well done.
Mm-hmm.
They
like the Brood monster or the X-Men as Brood?
No, the Brood monster.
Okay.
Because Hasbro gets a little weird sometimes. They'll put out something that's like, "Oh my God, don't do it! You're gonna make a mess of it." Then they show you, it's like, "Holy shit, that actually worked."
I would love to see them do a Black Heart with all the spines.
Okay.
Of course, after but how well would it be done? Because they can't make it too sharp because it's a kid's toy.
Yeah.
But Blackheart with all the spikes would be really cool to see. But I wouldn't really feel, actually, before Blackheart, I want the Mephisto that they showed and didn't put out. I mean, that's what everybody's been waiting for. I technically want that more as a select figure more than a Marvel Legends, though. So he would come with like a throne or something to sit on.
Like if that
if a Ghost Rider car had ever been made,
if that Ghost Rider car was 150 instead of 350,
everybody
just for Madeline Pryor alone
and Mephisto,
I would have paid.
Yeah, everybody would have bought it.
I would have given the car to my daughter and said, "Go drive this off."
Nobody would have wanted the car, but everybody would have bought into it to get those 2 figures.
Yeah, but instead they got greedy and said, "Let's go 150."
They really screwed the pooch on that one.
But who was it? There was a Transformer HasLab joint that they had right after that. I think it was 150. And I was like, I feel like you guys could have gotten away with more on that one.
It was the special Star Saber one. I think.
Yeah, it's like you could have flip-flopped your prices. Well, maybe not 350 for that. I don't know, but I felt like
they probably could have asked for 200 for it.
Yeah, they could have got away with a little bit more, and that Ghost Rider could have gone for 150, and it would have worked.
It's funny though, because what was it, the most recent one they just did, the G.I. Joe one? It sold out in under 2 hours.
Yeah, was it the Hiss tank?
Yeah. Well, it's been another one since then. That was the G.I. Joe one that I just heard about it today or yesterday, and it sold. It was the HasLab. I didn't even know what was going on because I've been paying attention to HasLabs generally just to see what they'll do.
Yeah,
and it was like lightning. And part of it's because the G.I. Joe community is so starved for attention that they finally given them something, and it was a decent price point. So,
yeah, I think the G.I. Joe stuff. As much as I love G.I. Joe growing up,
I was a G.I. Joe guy.
I can't get in. Like, first off, I'm too late. Number one. Number two, you look at the basement. There's no room here. I can make room.
So, just since we're talking about HasLab, is there a HasLab thing that would get you? I know you didn't go for the Sentinel because you already got the smaller one.
Well, also,
and that was pretty expensive.
Yeah, 3 was it?
So, is there anything that would get you as an either X-Men fan or just Marvel Legends fan?
Possibly a Blackbird.
Okay.
Possibly.
Yeah.
The thing,
what would you need from that? Like what?
So I need to be able to. So the thing is with Blackbird, it's got to be huge because these figures are 6 inches.
So that brings price point into question.
Yeah.
They're going to try to get their money.
How
many figures do you think would be satisfactory to you to actually fit inside?
I need to be able to put at least. So I want to say 6, but realistically, I'm going to go 5.
Okay, like 2 in the cockpit and maybe 3 elsewhere somewhere on the ship.
Correct. Now,
do you care so much about gimmicks or just having a place to hold figures to look cool in the display?
I don't really need gimmicks.
Okay. Because the HasLab stuff is aimed at an adult collector market. It's not aimed at kids, obviously, the price point.
Correct.
So,
I
and
think-
the Sentinel had a few gimmicks, but it was mostly about the look.
Yeah.
You could switch out pieces.
So that's the thing with the Sentinel now. So let's say that Sentinel dropped now instead of then. I would get the Sentinel now
Okay.
because I feel like I'm a more seasoned collector
Yeah.
and I have a better understanding. Back then, it didn't make sense to me because it's
Right.
like $350 for that.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. You know, even Sarah and I were sitting there, so like, there's no reason for me. Now, if it dropped,
You'd be like, okay.
I can justify that.
Yeah.
It's like I can afford it. Like, go ahead and do it. Like, but Sophie, she has to go to college. She'll be all right. She's in a trade school.
Uh-huh.
Like, she'll be all right. Like, what are we worried about? Look, she good. She can read. She get a scholarship. But you know, even Galactus kind of had my attention for a second. But the big thing with those is like, where would I really put them?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, excuse me. But I think for me right now, Blackbird might be the one. But even with that, it's like I'm trying to think: is there anything else that they could possibly do that would draw me in?
What about an Avengers Quinjet?
I'm not
You're not as
crazy
about
about
Avengers,
Avengers like that. Now, maybe if they did like, you know, the headquarters, like that has my attention.
Oh, like a
little bit.
Danger Room thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, if they did X-Men Danger Room, for sure you got me.
Because I would think if you're going to do a Danger Room, that has to be more about the gimmick than anything else. There's going to be full of gimmicks
Yes.
that are action oriented or whatever.
Exactly. So you would have my attention there because with all the figures that I have, I know I can make that work. And then what gimmicks are coming with it? You know, what can it do?
Yeah, my first question is what would you display, or how many figures would that need to accommodate for like a display?
So for
Like,
me,
as in how big would it need to be?
for me, I would say 6 at least.
Because to me, dimension wise, the Danger Room would have to be even bigger than the Blackbird.
Yes.
For it to really work.
I feel like though for me, I could house a Danger Room down here better than I can house a Blackbird.
Okay, because you could build it just as a display thing.
Correct.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Correct. The Blackbird, I would have to build some other display area
To have it, enclosed. Right.
Correct.
Okay.
I think that would be possibly like I was thinking Cerebral, but not really. Cerebral doesn't really do much for anything other than just be a big ass globe that Professor X sits in. I was like, that's dumb. Like, because I already said how that's gonna go. My daughter's gonna knock it over and roll it around like it's a fucking exercise ball. I was like, okay, that was a waste of $300.
Yeah.
But Danger Room, I'd go in for that quick.
What are there, like, you know how they've done some small vehicle sets like the boat bikes? Is there anything from that you, because they haven't done, the only X-Men stuff they've done related is the Deadpool, was it the Chimichanga thing? And they did Professor X's, his classic, like, yellow hover chair. Is there anything else?
Wolverine's on a motorcycle, which I keep looking at it. It's affordable.
That's one of the cooler ones.
I just keep
Is there
saying
any other
myself,
vehicles that would even work for that? That you would be looking for that are X-Men related?
Not that I could think of. I mean, you know, there are times where I think about X-Force and Cable and Gramokin, and that's no different than really, you know, fucking Blackbird or Jet. I mean,
right? Okay.
Just another flying contraption or Asteroid M, you know, things like that. But and I mean, honestly, Asteroid M is something that you start getting little things like the Alkalites. At each tier.
Because that was my next question for you. What other box sets would you be looking for as to like complete anything? The Acolytes are a logical one to me. Because they did the Alpha Flight one.
Yeah.
They've done it was the Strife mixed bag one. The Wolverine one that was trash.
Yeah.
And they could do other ones as well.
I think as far as a box set, I would say Mutant Liberation Front.
To complete that.
Yeah, the completed. Because, I mean, Strife has him and Zero, but you need Reaper, Forearm, because I think Forearm was there. He kind of flew between Sinisters.
I was going to say, what the other two that I would think would be either the Savage Land characters, which he was kind of part of, or the rest of the Marauders.
I think another interesting one, but this is a deep cut and no one really cares. Like, besides me, is probably Cable's like Wild Pack.
Oh, okay. See, and when I hear the name Wild Pack, I think it's Silver Sable more than Cable.
Well, and that's why I had to specify Cable's
Yeah.
Wild Pack, because I know there's Silver Sable's Wild Pack, but
Uh-huh.
Cable's Wild Pack with G.W. Washington.
That's right. G.W. Washington was on there.
So that's another figure though. I don't know. Kane. Weapon.
Weapon 10
yeah.
or whatever. Yeah.
So it's like,
Because when I start thinking of that, I also think of why haven't they done a slayback with like extended arms for Deadpool?
So
because Deadpool's a popular character, and slayback's not been in anything.
So I mean, there are a couple different sets out there that would be fun to see. I don't know if it's needed though. Another character that I think that's missing, I mentioned it earlier before we were recording, was Exodus.
Yeah, that's true.
But, I mean, he's an Omega level mutant as well. We don't have a figure for that one, so it's kind of lame. Warrior McTarget's son.
Oh, okay.
Like I don't know how they would kind of display the figure though. I mean, fuck, they got Chamber up there, so I guess just basically all that shit that's in Chamber's face is just like what her son would be. So there you go. I want a classic Banshee, like green suit Banshee.
Oh, well, they did the blue suit. They're going to repaint that. They got to.
I would imagine. I would hope.
And they'll
so.
do it as like in a 3-pack with something else.
Of course, because why wouldn't they? Dickheads.
I would think they will probably still do another X-Men team leader Magneto when he's without the helmet with the big M on the chest.
Yep,
that's a logical one to do.
That I've been kind of thinking about that one.
And or a Joseph from the 90s with the yellow and blue costume.
Yep, I figure that's coming. I figure both those figures might come same year. A box set that I think could be interesting, but probably missed the window by now, is the original New Mutants.
Oh, but they've done most of those as separate characters, right?
In a more modern.
Okay.
I mean,
they haven't done a training suit Cannonball, right? Sam, they haven't done.
Correct. That's what I mean. Like all in their training suit, like the black and yellow training suits.
Right.
And Wolfsbane as an actual wolf.
Oh, right. That would be cool.
So, because like the Wolfsbane that joined X Factor is kind of a hybrid. She's in betweener. Whereas the original Wolfsbane, she was a full blown wolf on all fours, running around in the woods and shit. So, there's stuff they can do. There's stuff that would be fun. There's stuff that would keep me locked in. But, I mean, the main things that I'm looking for are those three figures: Rachel Summers, Farrell, and a proper X Factor Wolfsbane. But if they did like a New Mutants box set, I'd pick it up. If they did a Mutant Liberation set, a 3-pack or something, I'd pick it up. Marauders of some sort.
I mean, yeah, because they've done obviously Sinister. They did the classic Sabretooth Silvestri design, but they've finally done a Vertigo, and that's it, right? They haven't done anybody else.
Nope.
Because the other ones I would expect would be at least Harpoon and Arclight.
Yeah. So I mean, I mean, those are the only ones of note that would really kind of, recognizable. We know who this guy is. So, there's a little bit of action out there for these figures, but are they needed? Not necessarily. Would they make them? Probably at some point.
Yeah, because there's a lot of glaring holes in Spider-Man I would expect to.
Yeah, like because I mean, again, we got an egghead figure. If you can get an egghead figure, you can fucking get these other figures.
Yeah.
So
because the HasLab I'm waiting for are the giant spider slayers.
Of course.
The three that combine from the cart. They were popular from the cartoon, and that was taken from the comic.
There's right now I got 2 figures on the way, and then. I guess it's, again, just at this point I'm building the Build-A-Figure because I'm reading the Powers of X story.
What's the Build-A-Figure?
Fuck, I may as well. What's the fucking their Tri-Sentinel with the fucking weird heads? It's like it's from the source.
Oh, okay, yeah. The modern Tri-Sentinel. That's my other big beef is they've never done. I got the Sentinel, and the main reason I got it was because the last thing they revealed that finally hooked me was they showed the Tri-Sentinel head from Spider-Man. I was like, okay. Because I was not in on that until they showed that. I said, that's the hardest thing to sculpt, so that must mean eventually they're going to do some kind of kit to give the other arms for this thing to make it a Tri-Sentinel for Spider-Man, and they still haven't done it. And that's Hasbro leaving money on the table, and it's very much a head-scratcher for me. It's like, why would you do that? Hasbro's not known for leaving money on the table like that. And that's an easy, I mean, not easy necessarily, but that is definitely an upgrade kit thing that you could build for that.
Well, I think, like you said, though, they don't normally leave money on the table. Just like, I mean, they do though. It's like they leave money on the table, but kind of like, I'm just going to leave this here for now, but I'll be back in about 4 years when you may not have interest anymore. Yeah,
that's the problem. I would love an upgrade kit for the HasLab Sentinel to make it a proper Tri-Sentinel for Spider-Man.
Then I also wonder too, is like, so let's say Rachel Summers. That's like, I'm fine even if they don't do a Pharaoh. I'm disappointed, but I'm fine. But they, Rachel Summers is kind of what I need. And let's say in 4 years, I'll be 49 at that point. They say we're going to drop Rachel Summers, and then we're going to give you updated new sculpt Excalibur figures. Okay. And I think that's a way that they fucking get people. Yeah. Is they go dormant on something, then they give you what you want, but they also give you some newer stuff with it. And now it's like, okay, we got you back. Because now we're going to start doing some more updated stuff. We're going to give you Cyclops with a jacket on. We're going to give you Jean with the ponytail. We're going to give you Jubilee with like different firework effects. We're going to give you Wolverine with better claw sculpts.
They're finally going to do the tuxedo Wolverine that I've been waiting for.
Yeah, it's like, we're going to give you these things. And now we got you back. And it's like, oh, dude, I'm tired. Yeah. Like, I don't want to be back. I just
wanted this one figure from years ago that you never put out, and now you're putting it out with a whole new wave of crap.
It's like you put it out, and I've already sold the other ones.
Yeah.
I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
Also another thing I'd like to see, because they dropped the set on Hasbro Pulse, is the Hellfire Club.
Yeah, I think eventually they'll. I mean, the only one they've kind of redone now is White Queen. Since then,
and what's funny is I was on eBay. I was this close
to buying the box.
That was this close because someone had it. They were selling it for $225, but the problem is there's a figure missing.
Oh, really? Oh, no. Which one was it?
White Queen.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not buying it then.
Yeah.
Because, like, the fuck. And everything else was intact, though. Box, everything.
Yeah.
But you don't get the White Queen. I was like, what are you doing with the White Queen?
Yeah.
Fucking freak. I don't know. But that's, I think if there's anything for 2024, I want either the 3 figures to complete, which I know I'm not going to get those 3, or like let me get those Hellfire Club figures.
I mean, since they did, White Queen's obviously the most popular one out of those, so they redid that one first. I think eventually they'll put out those again. The one that I think needs to be redone the most from that set, because it was the lamest in that box set, was Pierce, because he's a robot. He's basically a cyborg, and they didn't give him any cybernetics in the box set. He was just in his period piece clothes. That was it. He was the lamest duck in that set.
I mean,
and if he's going to go with the rest of his Reaver characters, I was like, give him some cyborg parts.
Well, and also with that too, like, I want a full, like, go ahead, just give me Hellfire Club, give me some Hellions. Give me Young Warpath.
Because they did, for the Hellfire Club, they did a box of the 2 henchmen guys, right?
Yeah.
With the faces? Okay. That's what I thought.
I saw those, and I was like, well, if I don't have the rest, why am I going to bother with them?
Yep.
That serves me no purpose.
Because I think they gave you 2 in a box, right? So they'd want you to buy multiple boxes to army build it.
Yeah. No.
Idea. Yeah.
I think the next thing I'm going to semi-army build is I'm going to get one more multiple man.
Yeah.
Like the newer one. And just put them in there with the X Factor one. And I got 3.
Is there any figures that you think were horribly done and need to be redone that they haven't done?
Looking over at my set right now, I think everyone that I have is relatively decent. I don't have any major complaints. Let me see here. You know, no, I think everything that I have up there, I'm pretty satisfied with. I look at my X Force group.
Mm-hmm.
I know they have a cannonball with legs, and the X Force.
That was such a huge, ridiculous thing. Cannonball without legs. Like, why? Why would you even make that?
And then I know they made a proper X Force domino.
Yeah.
Like, I'd like to see those somehow available.
Yeah, as separates.
I don't need Richter. That's the only reason why I haven't gone on eBay to buy that set. Because it's like, well, I don't need... Like, Richter would be the only one that's new for me, technically.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm not paying over $100 for Richter.
Yeah.
Like, they could eat a dick. And, like, honestly, that's the thing that fucking plucks my nerve with Hasbro Pulse, period. Is, like, these exclusives over there. And they go... Like, the Spider-Man set... That went immediately, and they they put it back up for pre-order again.
Yep.
Last Sunday, and I got it Friday. Yeah, I got it Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Like I ordered it on Sunday, got it Friday. They said it was pre-order, so you won't get it till August 1st. I was like, all right,
bullshit.
I'm patient.
You got it Friday already.
Give me what you owe, and then they're like, yeah, your shit's on its way. I was like, fucking right, it is, bitch. But I don't think they ever did that with the X Force box set.
Oh, really?
And Excalibur 3-pack went to Amazon. That's how I ended up getting that. So, but the X-Force one, never ever again. So, I don't know. I've got some issues with it all, but here I am still spending money on it. And, that's it. And sometimes I just sit up at night and cry.
Oh, no.
And then I use... the tears as lube when I jerk off. So,
damn, oh god!
This is what happens when I go to therapy only once per week, or once per month. I'm sorry. Like, I get emotional about these fucking pieces of plastic in this fucking basement. I don't even know where my classic Sabretooth figure is. I'm looking, I'm like, I can't see him.
Oh, he's the best one, man.
Yeah, I don't know where I put him. I think he's over there with Sinister. Yeah, he's behind Sinister. I see his arm.
You gotta have him battling Iron Fist, just like the old cover.
That's a figure I don't have. I don't have any version of Iron Fist
Okay.
at all, period. So, I just got a Nova. I have, like, Kid Nova.
This is only the second Nova they've done.
Like, I have, like, Kid Nova and then...
Because the classic Nova is the one they just put out that you can't find anywhere.
Kid Nova and Dick Rider over there. Like, that's his name.
It's Richard Rider.
No,
Yes.
it's Dick Rider.
They never called him Dick.
They
it's
should.
not Dick Grayson. They called him Richard Rider.
Dude.
Because you gotta have the classic Marvel Stanley alliteration, Richard Rider.
Dude. Like, I don't know why I didn't ever notice that when I was younger, but I saw that the other day. I was like, his name's Richard Rider. Why have I never ever picked up on that? Wow. But yeah, it's like Third Eye has a Moon Knight. I was like,
It's one of the new MCU ones.
Yeah, I was like, the flavor's gone. I'm done. Thanks. I don't care anymore. I mean, I don't have an Iron Fist, but yeah, if I got Iron Fist, I'd have him fight Sabretooth. But honestly, I wouldn't. I'm too lazy to display anything. You know how long it took me to do the Spider-Man set?
Hey man, I hear you. I have a lot of display work.
That's why I had to move the chair that you were gonna sit in. It was like Phil's gonna end up like knocking over my Spider-Man, and I'm not gonna pick them back up. The figures that fell over there, those shits ain't getting picked up until Thursday. So he's gonna come down like, oh no, Dad, they're laying down. Like, yeah, they're tired. At least he didn't knock over Loki and break his crown.
Oh jeez.
Like, I don't know, but let's go ahead and wrap this shit up.
All right.
All right. So as always, thank you y'all for listening. I do appreciate you. It's funny because I feel like I've already said this because you know why? I recorded earlier. You're welcome. If you have any questions, concerns,
2 for tonight.
like, yeah, but you're only gonna hear one.
Yeah, so you need to go over and listen to our other show.
Yeah. So you like horror? I do. Go check it out. Tell a friend to tell a friend. But if y'all got any questions, concerns, criticisms, feel free to reach out. You can find me at bjj.wiki. on Instagram or Off the Mats Podcast on Instagram. Either or. I'm available at both, but probably BJJ Wiki is going to be your better bet. And, thanks. I appreciate you.
And
Phil.
I'm at Nerd Ragecast on Twitter. If you want to hear anything from Nerd Rage Radio that Bobby doesn't talk about because I put it in the notes and he ignores it. So anything nerd related, basically movies, stuff.
Phil's got you covered.
Films, yeah, it's over there. Thirst, whatever you got, I'm there. And if you can check us out on So You Like Horror, and we will do movie reviews for you now.
Yeah.
Send us your indie film that's a horror film, and we'll watch it and either trash it or say we really like it.
Hey, look, I'm gonna let you know, man. You want us to look at your film and review it? We will. We watched Killer Kites earlier tonight.
It's a fun romp.
Absolutely. So, I mean, and we take into account what it really is. It's not like you're fucking, James Cameron. You're out there fucking, deep diving to make a movie. You're a kid in your backyard with a fucking,
You're shooting a film on your iPhone.
You got a Kodak, Polaroid camera, and you're gonna fucking make a, movie out of that. We get it. We know you cheap. You homeless bastard. So, but yeah, if y'all got anything, let us know. But otherwise, I want to give a big shout out to our friends over there at Nerd Rage Radio, Bobby, Joe, Chris. Not Bobby Joe, but like Bobby and Joe. I don't want y'all to think he's from Alabama. But Bobby, Chris, Joe.
Chris, who is actually from Alabama.
Maryland Phil, who was here.
Hey, it's Funky Fresh.
I'm sorry. Funky Fresh Phil. No, when you were at Nerd Rage, you're Maryland Phil.
That's true.
You're Funky Fresh Phil here, son. But all the crew over there, Ricky, Tiki, everyone. Thank you guys. But that's why I do podcasts. So it's because of this crew here. So thank you to them. So if y'all aren't listening to Nerd Rage Radio, take your asses over there and listen to that too. You're going to have a lot more fun than you did here. Actually, I don't know. Sometimes we're getting kind of wild to the point where it's like, well,
sometimes Dante gets wild with what he's saying.
Phil be over here on drugs.
Me? Hey. Don't you tank my job over your show. Hold on. Hey, I'm clean.
They still got to test you. Like, look, if they test you, you test positive, that ain't on me. That's
Dante's over here saying some wild ass shit.
I mean, I might be taking drugs, but I'm not like giving them out. Like when they used to talk about like, oh, they're gonna try to offer you. No one ever offered me drugs.
You had to ask for that shit.
I had to ask, like, yo, can I have some drugs?
You say, what are you, a narc?
And they're like,
well, at least that's what they looked at me and said, what are you, a narc?
Whenever I said I wanted drugs, people got excited. They're like, what? Dante wants drugs? And then, like, I get high. And you're like, suckers. But yeah, shout outs. Thank you. Otherwise, yeah, we're done here. We're done. We love you all. Again, like I said, go leave a review on what is it? Apple
Podcast.
I think
5 stars.
Yeah. Make sure it's a 5-star. Don't be giving a 1-star review, punk ass.
You know you love us.
Like giving 1-star reviews, like you don't know any better. Like that girl from Duke who gave me a 1-star review. It's like I knew as soon as I saw the Duke hat, and I was like, oh, she gonna fuck this up, and she did. Fucking dummy. So either way, thanks everyone. We do appreciate you. You guys keep listening. We're gonna keep making these shows. Thank you everyone, and goodbye.
Deep with it. Now let me sing a song.